When my older sister Lily, who is 31 and 6 months pregnant, needed a place to stay, I didn't hesitate to offer her a temporary home. She's going through a tough time, dealing with issues with her landlord and preparing to move out, so I told her she was welcome to stay with me for as long as she needed. I live alone in a small 2-bedroom apartment, but the second bedroom isn't a spare, it's my home office. I work from home full-time, and having a dedicated workspace is essential for me. That being said, I was more than willing to set her up in my guest room, which has a perfectly comfortable bed that I used myself before upgrading to my current one. The moment Lily moved in, however, she pointed at my bed and casually declared, "I'll take this one." I laughed, assuming she was joking. Later that evening, as I was checking if she needed anything before bed, she brought it up again. Only this time, she was completely serious. She expected to sleep in my bed while I took the guest room. Now, I have a thing about my bed. I'm a bit of a germaphobe when it comes to other people sleeping in it, and the idea just made me uncomfortable. I gently told her that I wasn't okay with giving up my bed, but I was more than happy to make sure she was comfortable in the guest room. That bed is spacious, soft, and well kept. I knew for a fact it was perfectly fine. She didn't take that well. She started guilt-tripping me, saying that pregnancy had made it difficult for her to sleep and that she needed the bigger, more comfortable bed. I held firm. I was already accommodating her, but I wasn't going to give up my own room. She sulked but eventually accepted the guest bed. That lasted exactly 2 nights. On the 3rd day, she started complaining that the bed was too stiff and that she couldn't sleep. I offered to buy a new mattress topper to make it softer, but she refused. Instead, she circled back to her original argument, pulling the "you're my brother, you should want to make me comfortable" card. At this point, I reminded her that she was lucky I was even able to take her in. I work 10-hour days from home, and maintaining a quiet, private work environment is essential. I told her if the guest bed was truly unbearable, she could take the couch instead. She did, for exactly 1 night. On the 2nd night, she made it her mission to make me regret my decision. She sighed loudly all night, accidentally bumped into things, and made sure I knew how miserable she was. The next morning, she complained non-stop about how horrible I was making her feel. Then she escalated things. Throughout the day, while I was working, she made endless phone calls, talking loudly, making it difficult for me to focus. I didn't pay attention to what she was saying, until my phone started blowing up that evening. Turns out, she had spent the entire day calling our family, ranting about how cruel and selfish I was for not letting my pregnant sister sleep in my bed. One by one, family members called to berate me. My mom was furious, scolding me over the phone and saying she had raised me to be more hospitable. She told me she was disappointed in me. My aunt chimed in, telling me that when she was pregnant, her husband, my uncle, slept on the couch or even the floor just to make sure she was comfortable. Even my cousin, who I haven't spoken to in 2 years, called out of nowhere to tell me I was selfish. The only one on my side was my dad. He told me to ignore them, saying Lily was the one who got herself into this situation. But even he sounded hesitant, as if my mom was pressuring him behind the scenes. Now, my mom is threatening to come take Lily home, like that's some kind of punishment. Honestly, at this point, I'm just exhausted. I agreed to help my sister, I gave her a place to stay, I offered to make adjustments, but none of it was good enough. I feel like I'm stuck in the middle of some ridiculous family drama, all because I wouldn't give up my own bed. I never expected this situation to escalate the way it did, and I certainly didn't expect the overwhelming response from so many people. To everyone who took the time to share their thoughts and reassure me, I can't thank you enough. Your words gave me the confidence to stand my ground and helped me see that my personal space wasn't just being overlooked, it was being outright disrespected. To address a few common questions, the guest bed isn't in a separate guest room, it's stored in my office, which is my second bedroom. When I have guests over, I set it up in the living room, which is spacious enough to fit the bed, couch, and table comfortably. My parents live about 4.5 hours away, making them the closest family members to me. That's why, initially, I didn't even consider asking someone to come pick up Lily. It just didn't seem practical at the time. And for those who were wildly speculating, no, I did not get my sister pregnant. Seriously, guys, what? Lily is moving out of her apartment not because of any eviction or personal drama, but because the building was sold. The new owners haven't decided if they want to keep renting it out or adjust the pricing, so she was forced to look for a new place. That's why she needed somewhere temporary to stay. Now, on to the actual update. My mother made the long drive yesterday, and when she arrived, she was furious. She barely said a word to me, just walked in with that cold, disappointed look, the kind that stings even when you know you didn't do anything wrong. She clearly wanted to take Lily and leave as quickly as possible. That look alone broke my heart. But I wasn't going to let them leave on bad terms. I insisted that we talk first. I sat them both down in the living room and calmly explained my side of the situation, making it clear that my refusal to give up my bed had nothing to do with being inconsiderate and everything to do with maintaining my personal space and my work environment. Then, I took it a step further. I pulled up the original post I had written and showed it to them. Seeing everything laid out so plainly, without the emotions clouding it, seemed to make them pause. Their expressions shifted from anger to something closer to quiet embarrassment. They didn't say much, but I could tell it gave them something to think about. After reading through it, both my mother and Lily admitted that they could see my perspective. They acknowledged that this was my home, my workspace, and that it made sense why I wouldn't want to give up my bed. That said, it wasn't a complete victory. They still made it clear that even though they understood, they believed I could have been the bigger person and just let Lily have my bed. At least the accusations of selfishness stopped. As for the rest of my family, I made it clear to Lily that she was responsible for correcting the narrative she had spread. I told her to call every single one of the relatives she had ranted to and set the record straight. She was reluctant at first, but then my mother gave her the look, you know, the one that makes you realize you don't have a choice, and Lily finally agreed. She promised to make those calls on the drive back to my parents' house. To my surprise, my aunt actually called me today to apologize. That was completely unexpected, but I won't lie, it was also incredibly satisfying. Lily is now staying with my parents, and I have a strong feeling that, before long, they will be the ones ranting about her entitlement. I can't wait to see how they handle that situation now that she's under their roof. The only lingering concern is that Lily still has to move her belongings from her old apartment, which is about a 30-minute drive from me. I already know she's going to ask for my help, and honestly, I don't mind, I'd be happy to help her move. What worries me is the possibility that she'll try to stay at my place again or use it as a storage space. I wouldn't be surprised if she brings up the whole bed situation again, and honestly, I cannot be bothered to deal with that drama all over again. But that's a problem for another day. Hopefully, it won't come up. In the end, I think this turned out as well as it possibly could have. And I have all of you to thank for that. Seriously, to everyone who took the time to comment, to offer support, to remind me that my feelings were valid, I truly appreciate it.